If you could describe radical acceptance and self-care in one word, phrase, or mantra, what would it be?
Be beautiful. Being you is the most beautiful thing anybody obviously can be. Some of the corniest people are my favorite people. I'm like, but it's because that's who they are, and they love who they are, and they're not going to change who they are for anybody. And I appreciate people that are like that. That's what brings the beauty together. It's just, ultimately being yourself.
Welcome, queer kittens and new earballs. I'm V, a two-spirit human, joy influencer, energy worker, and dad joke connoisseur. All pronouns accepted. This podcast started because we just want QTBIPOC to be well, to feel seen, and to be heard. So let this be your queer compass guiding you towards radical acceptance. And wherever you are in your wellness journey, just know you're not alone. We hope this podcast brings you joy where you'll learn, laugh, heal, and grow. Hey y'all, today we are going to have the one and only Touche, another multifaceted artist for y'all who is Puerto Rican, does tattoos, music, body art, and is the creator of Teef Tuesdays. If y'all don't know what that is, look it up. TEEF Tuesdays. If not, just wait in this episode. She's going to tell you all about it. It's pretty exciting. She's out there like spreading out all this joy with these Teef Tuesdays. And you'll get to learn a little bit more about who Touche is. And how she embraces her emotions by processing them through her music, the importance of silence and self-reflection, and how she believes, and I also believe, that nature is definitely the pathway to spiritual awakening. And get this, it's so on brand. Touche is outside during this recording in nature, so y'all are going to be blessed with the songs of some cute little birds. Or, I'm sorry, I don't know if they're little, but they're cute. They're chirps. And definitely peaceful. And we're going to give you a little taste of her new track that's actually going to be released the same day as this episode. And it's called Lift Me Up by Touche. So without further ado, enjoy the taste and Touche.
I wish I didn't know all about this. I wish I didn't know all about that. Cause what the fuck's this? Who the fuck's that? He like to touch kids. She like to throw trash. Can you lift me up sometime? Can you lift me up sometime?
What's up? I'm Touche. I'm from Jersey. I'm pretty gay. I'm also Puerto Rican. I reside in Los Angeles at the moment. But yeah, Jersey's always going to be home for me. Even being out here, it's just like a little, I want to go home. I love to cook. I cook 90% of my meals. I'm vegan. My girlfriend's gluten-free, so it's forced me to cook gluten-free. So now I know how to cook vegan gluten-free. And I pretty much make everything. I love the flavors. So for me, I have to just put everything in, and I don't know. She calls them like little 5-course meals, but to me, I'm like, it's just good, like.
I gotta come over for some of this food. You're making me hungry, and I just ate.
Right, me too.
Because doing vegan alone is hard to make always delicious, but vegan and gluten-free, yo, that's talent.
It's hard because, so like recently, like, I don't know, smelled the funnel cake, so I started making funnel cakes. But like now I make these funnel cakes. They're gluten-free, vegan. But I also put like strawberries and like like chocolate syrup on top of it. And they're fluffy. So I don't know. For me, it's just so food.
I've never, ever, ever too full for dessert.
Yeah, me neither.
Next time I'm in LA, I'm gonna be like, yo, funnel cake?
No, yeah, I'm so down. Like,
Hell
I got
yeah.
you.
Are you ready to show the people who you are?
Oh, Jesus Christ, see it.
Well, let's start with who is Touche today?
Touche today is very outspoken and she's more headstrong than she's ever been. Touche is not more so worried about, I guess, showing all the things that she's created, but more so worried about just been building everything so that when I do start putting everything out, everything is just put in its order. Like, it's this thing that I learned, like, you're putting it out in the present moment, but you're not actually creating those songs in those present moments. Like, so it's kind of like my story, like in the process of like everything that I've gone through, been through, like, it's just little, I don't know how to explain that. It's just like its own little journey on its own, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So would you say that everything that you're creating, you're kind of putting together a message that you want to have for the world to hear?
Yes, and I wanted it to be in a way where people understand. Well, I guess even more so me understanding it, because I feel like I couldn't fully explain certain things that I've gone through, or like certain situations without fully understanding it. So I feel like I allow myself to like experience everything full out, and like even emotionally, like mentally, and then from there, that's when I like, oh, I can talk about this now. I always say, like, I used to cry so much when every time somebody brought up my father, I would be like, ugh. But I learned how to talk about it. And once I started talking about it, now I don't really cry about it. So it's like, I think it's just all about understanding.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And talking, are you comfortable with talking about little Touche?
Little Touche, Jesus Christ. What about little Touche?
What was she like?
So, you know what's crazy? It's like, I asked my mother that question, and she told me a thing that made me kind of emotional. She always said that when I was little, I used to like, I'd be playing, but I wouldn't like ask, like in the home, like I wouldn't ask. I'd just be by myself. And I was like, that's me now. Like, I'm so cool with like just being by myself now. I be wanting people to like, oh yeah, you could join me, like no doubt, but I'm not sitting there. Like. And I think she kind of like helped me understand that little part. That's like little me, I would say. Teenage, like little middle school, like high school me, I would say she was. I feel like I'm still the same in a sense, because now I'm more. It's like obviously I'm more mature and like I've learned so many things like from my past. But I don't know. I was just always in some type of sport. Like I was always outside. If I'm in my aunt's house, we're outside playing and like running around the blocks. Like we used to play. Like we used to like jump on people's garages because the garages were all so close to each other. So we would like. Literally just jump garage to garage type shit. It was crazy.
So you had a pretty fun childhood growing up. And what was it like different for you being like queer and Boricua? Or did you realize you were queer when you were young? And how was it in Jersey being that and Boricua?
So in Jersey, that's all it is. So like even where I grew up, like, so I grew up in Perth Amboy, and then like when I was a little older, I was in a town called Carteret. Carteret is like, that was my culture shock, because for me, where I grew up in Perth Amboy, it was only Puerto Rican and Dominican. And then There was like a couple other races, but like not really. Everybody else was like from down south, and that's it. Carteret, totally different. Nobody had accents. Everybody just spoke properly, and I don't know. It was just something I've never been around.
I can totally relate to you because I moved from LA to the Bay Area, and in the little city I grew up in called Pico Rivera, it was all Mexicans, all Latinos. And then moving to the Bay Area, going to a university that was purely like white and Asian was a huge culture shock. And then going into San Francisco, hanging out in the city, and all these different foods and smells and languages, like it was a huge culture shock. And I think this was the beginning of me learning how to code switch. So it was a big thing. But before we get ahead of ourselves, I really, really want to go back and touch on the fact that you mentioned you were an athlete. And I want to jump back to that real quick because
No kid.
I know something these people don't know, and how you were like this big champion. I was like, I really want you to share with the listeners what sport that was, because I was shocked when you told me.
Yeah, I was a cheerleader. Yeah, I did. I was actually, so before my little growth spurt, I was a flyer, and we won a championship then. Like, it was a national championship, but we were undefeated. So it was like 2-time undefeated national champ, Ooh, but yeah, and then the second time I became a base by like the end of it, because I was just taller, I guess taller, stronger, I was just like, I could lift them up in one arm.
Because you have to be pretty feminine in that, no?
Well, that's more like military, I would say. Like when it becomes competitive like that, it's more military. They used to have us laying down on the floor with our fists in our gut, and like we would have to press down, and like we would have to recite like the whole entire cheer, but we would have to do it like at a point where everything would have to sound like one person. So like it couldn't sound like that. It had to sound like one. So we would have to, I don't know. It's like that's why I say it's like kind of military base. Kind of weird.
That's wild.
We had crazy training. Like, it was wild. Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's why you became a good teacher in the future when you're leading all these teams from underdog to champion. Mm-hmm. I just like spoil on that one.
Mm-hmm. Even, yeah, so it progressed into like me coaching. I guess for me, when I guess I'm teaching, I like to study people. I'm Sag, so I just be observant. I just be studying. That's how it always was. Like the softball league that I coached, that happened because I was in the crowd just really watching, and I'm like, nah, do this, do that. And I'm like, bro, have her do this when she's playing this position. Like, I think it'll help her. She did it. The girl started like actually making some outs, and I'm like, can you coach third? Like, can you go on third base? Can you go on third base? I'm like, all right, fuck it. But then from there, I had trained them that whole entire summer, and they were getting invited into tournaments they've never been invited to because they weren't like good enough. They were even to the point where their league was under the boys' baseball league. It wasn't even their own league. It was ran by the boys. Like, they weren't able to like pick and choose what tournaments they wanted to enter or like try to enter because they weren't good enough, But by the end of that summer, they did get their own league. They got their own uniforms. They got their own new name and all that. And it's, so studying and putting in the work.
And being an athlete for a lot of my like for basically my entire childhood. It takes a special kind of coach for you to trust them and also to feel empowered by them to get to being a championship. So you got to pat yourself on the back for being a good leader and empowering those youngsters. And you now, empowering folks now with all your work. So let's fast forward into all of this. But before I do, I just want to ask you, how is your soul right now?
My soul, that's crazy. It's cool. It's I would say, dang, that's a crazy question. I think she's just exploring and figuring it out right now. That's really just trying to figure it out. I'm trying to see what's really what's good and what's not. Even though, like, I feel like you always know what's good and bad for you, but I feel like that's where, like, specifically I'm at. Like, I'm like, let's redo this. I gotta figure this out again. I gotta redo this. I gotta get this one here, get this one there. Like, but trying to keep myself happy at the same time. So that's why I say exploring, because sometimes I think I overindulge in certain spaces because I think it makes me happy, but then it just kind of exhausts me.
Yeah, and how did you figure that out? I feel like a lot of people don't have the awareness that they're even overindulging, or that they have these bad habits. Like, how did you even get to the point where you realize, like, yo, I need to reassess this situation?
Well, I feel like it just became a thing where it's like when you're around certain people, like being around certain people, and it's like, damn, every time I'm around you, something bad happens. And when I'm not around you, all the good things happen. So it's like, I feel like just even moments like that kind of made me realize even those types of that type of realization, like, it helped me. Like, I feel like I say that all the time recently too. Like, I'm like, nah, I'm like, bro, like, I don't hang around these people and things are lining back up. Like, I stopped doing this and this is lining up. So
yeah,
it's from I feel like when you're out of alignment, like, you just got to realize the different things that you're doing.
Absolutely. That reminds me of one of your Instagram posts where you said, I would desperately try to fix them while they were breaking me. And that hit me so hard when I watched that and, like, felt those words. And I was just like, yo, but how did you notice you were being broken while fixing someone else? And when you notice, how did you break yourself out of that?
I feel like it's all kind of one and the same. Because for me, in that, it's like, I guess, an exchange of energy in a sense. So it's like, if one person's healing, somebody's hurt, and or vice versa. Like, and that's all. I feel like that is really only when one person is pouring and not the other. So that can go as far as, like, your siblings, your parents, your friends. It's not always just in romance. So I don't know. I feel like I just give so much. I'm a giver. So, like, I give. And then I came to the realization, I'm like, oh shit, like, it doesn't come back from the same space. So it's like, dang, like, you keep knocking on a door, like, beating on the door, they're not hearing the knock, like, it's talking to a damn wall. So I feel like that's what made me realize those things. Like, I'm like, dang, I guess it's a new boundary. Like, just learning who, like, I came up with this last year. Like, I started thinking about who, like, all right, it's about who I'm sharing with, who I'm giving to, like, who I'm doing this with. Like, you can't do everything with everybody, or, like, you can't just give, and you can love everybody, but it's just levels to the love that you're supposed to give,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And this love that you're giving the community right now with this Teeth Tuesdays. You want to tell everybody what Teeth Tuesdays is?
Teeth Tuesday, TEEF. That's to enhance every frown. So that's like the acronym I came up with, because ultimately, even if you flip it, feet, like that's two things that people are always insecure about: the teeth and the feet. You know, and and I don't know. I created that. Really, I posted on my Instagram story. I had posted a couple people smiling, like a couple of my friends smiling. And I gotta like, let me just do like a friend appreciation post type thing story for the day. And as I'm doing it, I'm scrolling back through that, and I realized, well, this kind of made me like happy. Like I'm kind of smiling a little bit. Like that's kind of cool. Then I call like two people. I call my mother and one of my friends. And I'm like, how'd that make you feel? Like, it uplifted me. And a couple of people DM me saying the same thing. Like, oh, I really loved that story. It made me happy. And I was like, Tuesdays. So I made it the day where like people can just, share their smile, no matter what it looks like, no matter teeth, no teeth. Encouraged to show the teeth. I don't know. It's just more so of like just a reminder to just like take a moment to smile. Yeah. Smile. The more you smile, like it sounds like these chemicals to your brain, and it eventually just makes you happy, and you're living in this happiness regardless. Yeah.
And would you say that like
so focused
filled a little hole in you, providing that for others and yourself?
Yes, because they even like had like children doing it, like the dogs, like it'd be like, like it's just, so to me, I'm like, oh, that's so cute. Like Teeth Tuesdays, like I even came up with like there was a point where I was selling t-shirts, Teeth Tuesday t-shirts, and I had to make a whole kids thing because they were requesting it, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I made that, like, it makes me happy. It still makes me happy when, like, people do that. They'd be like, oh, Teeth Tuesdays. Like, sometimes people have came up to me, they're like, oh, Teeth Tuesdays. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's one of those simple, beautiful things that people forget how easy it is to do.
Yeah.
You in the grind of it all. And I was trying to think when I was listening to one of your songs, I help you heal, and I was like trying to make that connection that was with Teeth Tuesdays. I was like, you know what, Teeth Tuesdays is a version of like helping you heal, because if you're mad and you smile, it pulls you out of that anger just a little bit. Like, because even when you're upset and somebody makes you laugh, you're like, oh, I wanted to be mad. Like, but you just can't stay mad. I don't know what it is, but I don't. Being happy is just where it's at. Yeah, and honestly, the whole visual video, the music video of that "Help You Heal" was super beautiful, and also I resonated with it a lot. And the big thing that you put in there when you were like, learn the difference between reacting and responding and what it does to your anger. I was like, ooh, what were you going through when you wrote that?
Damn, a lot. It was me and my friend. We stayed up, I want to say maybe till like 6-7 o'clock in the morning, and then but like he's like, all right, I'm going to sleep. So like 8:30, I started recording myself on the on the computer, and I don't know, like she woke up. I'm like, I think this is gonna be it. Yeah, I have this idea, and that's when we started doing it. So like even the guy who produced it is actually the vocal, like the male vocal on the song.
Oh, sick.
I just noticed that even if I wasn't the crazy one, if I wasn't the one that was wrong, whatever it is, always like that's just how people perceive it. Like if you're the one that's reacting, let's say negatively, and you're the one that's reacting loud, emotionally defensively, like people take that as aggression regardless. And controlling, learning how to control that, I don't know, it's just, I just learned I had to shut the fuck up, you know, like, I gotta be quiet, like, let me just shut the fuck up, because if not, then I'm not gonna be able to have control over myself. That's where I guess that anger is, like, just rooted from not being able to, like, why are you dumb? Why are you so dumb? But you can't be mad about it, it's not you, you know?
Yeah. But that's a huge thing for a Sag to admit to.
Mhm.
Like, I just needed to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I did, man. Look, I even have, like, I have the word facing.
There you go. Oh, man. And for those of y'all that don't know what just happened, Touche was showing the patience tattoo on her hand. and seeing that, that's kind of like a little reminder for you. That's kind of like a help you heal moment. Do you have other help you heal moments for yourself and how you take care of you?
From my anger, I have there. I used to think that I was going to be able to, like, beat the
What
wall,
is it?
you know, or like win the poll. So it used to be my father's SBI number, but it's all smeared now.
So it's like
You
dad
can
being
kinda
like,
see
put
it
your
in
fist
some
down.
angles. No, it was just me. Like, I used to get mad and just punch stuff. Like, so, like, I used to go and, like, punch, like, the telephone pole. I just be like, oh.
Yep,
And then
me in
I'd
my
get a little
20s.
boxer fracture. And then, yeah. See, when it was younger for me, like, I was just angry, like, all the time. But, yeah, I mean, I got that as, like, a little reminder not to be so damn angry and be so stupid, because that could also be me. And then to put Touche, this Touche logo above all that. That's why it's kind of like right there.
Like a reminder, stay who you are, because anger pulls you out of it. Besides the tattoos, though, what do you do to help you heal? Like, how do you remain outside of anger and more inside of yourself?
So I used to go on the wild. I've hiked so many times. I think that's where everything's really started for me. I just used to go hiking, no matter where I was. If I traveled, like, I try to make sure I, like, could hike. I do this thing where, like, I try to zip line everywhere. I really feel like I just like to be a Sagittarius and just adventure and, you know, explore. And I think that's ultimately what keeps me at peace, and it helps me heal, because I get to understand perspectives from different areas of the world, in a sense. So it's like, might have the same type of couple on the East and West Coast, but they both have different perspectives or different ways of going about their life, you know? And I'm like, damn, you guys have, like, the same type of love. Like, it's so crazy, but it's different languages, you know? No, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, the anger is a hike.
Man, the heights. Yeah, that's really what it is. I don't know. Like, I think that's really just walking, like, just exploring, driving. I drive so much, man. Like, I drive a lot. And that also keeps me, and I drive in silence, because I feel like, okay, I guess that's one. Me driving in silence, I feel listening to music when it's just so many things, like, eating my mind up. I don't know, it just didn't really do anything for me. So I had to start driving in silence so that I could become one with my own thoughts and, like, just with myself. So I feel like I was able to just sit with myself in those moments, because I'm driving such a long distance. And a lot of people that, you know, have driven with me, they're like, oh, put the music on. I'm like, oh my God, it gives me anxiety. Like, I'm thinking so much right now.
The car is definitely underrated, beautiful, meditative space. And like for you, it's silence. For me, especially after the club, because I don't know if you know I'm a bartender, but after the club, I love driving home in silence because all of that craziness, I just need some quiet. But
Yeah, that.
yeah, that buzzing for sure. But there's those times where I just have like all this emotional energy I just need to release, and I just am not embarrassingly, I'm proud to say it. I blast Linkin Park and I just sing it as loud as I can, like almost like I'm screaming in the car, and I
Uh-huh.
just feel so good after.
Yeah. No, I have those times too. Like I have a playlist, and in that playlist, yeah, and I express my emotions. I'd be like this. But
What's in that playlist?
I don't know how to explain it. Oh man, look, I'm about to pull it out. You ever heard of Fake Bitches Hero?
No,
Fire. She's fire.
like
She made man, she I don't even know how to explain it, but to me, I don't know, just being I guess from the East Coast and stuff, that she's just she talks the correct shit. I don't even know how to explain it. She has this record called Fake. I don't know, it just is one of my favorite songs ever. Like it's just about people being fake and how you can be like you can be there for people and like how much you could be there for people and they're just still just slimy as fuck. And that like that type of song, I'm like, yeah, like
it's like affirming and like
the silence
empowering.
helps me regulate. Yeah. Well, exactly. It's like an affirming type of thing. So it definitely it empowers in the same sense. Because I feel like the silence is just me trying to just understand, trying to like regulate how I feel, all the emotions, all the people I was around, and all the energy I like is lingering onto me in that process. So yeah, I definitely do understand it. I
That's
like to
crazy
blast the
'cause
music sometimes, just not most of the time.
yeah. For me, for a minute, like honestly, for a really long time, silence freaked me out. Like I felt like silence was louder to me than like just all the noise and commotion because I was like, man, my thoughts they are noisy, and I think that was more of when I was in a headspace of the self saboteur, like all that, just that bad talk I
Yeah.
was doing for myself, that chatter. I was trying to escape that, but like learning how to meditate and be in silence, like I've learned how beautiful and how comfortable silence can be. And I was wondering, do you meditate since you're able to sit in silence?
Ha. I guess no, no, but yes, because so even I feel like okay, even in sports and hiking and stuff like that, I don't breathe through my mouth. Like I'm always like so I feel like I've created like this sense of like zen within just my breathing techniques on its own without like a full on like meditative like
Absolutely.
I guess
Meditation looks
session
different for everyone.
because yeah, I always say like when people used to ask me that a couple years ago, I used to say I'm like, no, I smoke. You know, I'm like that's my little meditation session. Like,
Yeah.
but
I wash
yeah,
dishes and I'm
I
like,
don't know.
that's meditating.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm
yeah for me.
mindful with the water.
Mm-hmm. No, I feel that. That's cool. Yeah, no, I don't like actually meditate though. Like I guess in the traditional sense.
Okay. Would you consider yourself a spiritual person?
Me, I'm very spiritual, but like spiritually connected as well. I'm not like religious based. I do believe in a word. I do believe in I guess a lot of things that are shared in the religious books, but I'm not religious. I don't feel like I could sit here and be like, yeah, I'm this, I'm that. I believe in God and whoever that is to anybody, to some spiritualist, that's the universe. I used to say the universe a lot. I have a tattoo where, like, on my chest that says that. But I say universe because I feel like it was just easier than saying God, because a lot of people understood the universe, and because as soon as I say God, they're like, oh, religion. But it's also like not kind of, but it actually like literally is the same. It's all one and the same things. It's just about perspective. But yeah, I do consider myself super spiritual. I'm super connected. I'm very intuitive. My family is very spiritual on its own, so I just grew up around all of that. They're kind of like magical people,
Ooh, like a little brujeria.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. It's just, perspective,
Mm-hmm. That's true.
But it's not a bad thing. It's just a little scary, being, even when I was younger and stuff, like that's just kind of, it's a little scary.
Anything you don't fully understand can be scary. And if it's not used in different ways, there's many ways to use it that can be less scary too, once you understand it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I had a aunt. She passed away, but I had an aunt, and she would be like, she could channel energies, and I'm trying to simplify it. At like 8 years old, I'd be experiencing adults that were like not within their soul. It was just another soul within them, and that's who we're communicating with. And then it was just for a moment to share messages and stuff, and then poof, and it'll be something else. And you're like, they would sit there and be like, oh, this has been happening with this person, and this is gonna happen in a year from now. This person's gonna do this, and we're like, yeah, whatever. Like, us as kids, like, yeah, whatever. They're fucking crazy, but they not. But they not. They was on point with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Scary.
You had a
yeah.
what?
Well, like I had a cousin. She was basically like, I don't want to say sheltered, but she more so was like, she was raised by her grandmother, and as soon as that was who they, there was a time where like, she's gonna have a son, and I think it was like 11 months from that point, and we're like, yeah, yeah, right. And she did, indeed. And that was when, like, for me, I think that's when I was like, okay, I shouldn't be scared of all this. I had to like face and just try to come to an understanding of what it really was. I'm just trying to stay away from it, but can't shy away from like even me and like my like intuition, things I'm able to do. I just be like, darn. But
yeah, definitely. I feel that.
It's all one with self.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that kind of made me think about the beautiful answer you gave. I was watching one of your interviews, I think with like Candy House, and she had asked you this question. She was like, where do you see yourself in 3 years? And your answer was like, it blew my mind, because I'm always like thinking about manifestations and like, oh, I gotta manifest this, I gotta manifest that. And I don't know if do you remember your answer?
I feel like I had said something like along the lines of like, even if I had a plan, like I really don't even know. I think it was something like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was something along the lines of like basically like trusting the universe.
I'd be such in the moment.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like trusting the universe, and that even though you make all these plans, sometimes there's something better that you didn't even know you could plan for, but by trusting the universe, you let it just be open. Yeah, I was like, that's beautiful. All right,
that's nuts. I've written a book, and then like I feel like, damn, I needed to read this book so much, like just to even like help myself. You know, it'd be moments where I'm like, damn, I need advice. Whole time, like I already had that advice. I kind of like, I'm really in the moment. I live in that moment of life. I like to be present.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Are there any books that helped you?
Books, authors. I've read like all of you know who Rob Hill Sr. is?
Yes. Yes.
So I started reading his books. I started reading his books initially because his were about relationships, and I was trying to figure out, I guess, the people in my world. And so like through his books, like I learned the relationship with my mother and my brother, like how to, even now, like how to just talk to like different people, how to listen. He helped me with those types of things. And then I was reading, you know, classic, like The Four Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. He helped me, I feel like, more so just put everything in together. Like all the thoughts I already had, like they were confirmations. I'm like, I always say it's like reading those books, it was like just a conversation I needed to have with somebody. That's all.
Absolutely.
So, those two are my top dudes. I read all their books. I've read all of their books. For sure.
And now, are you having conversation with other people with what you read in those books?
So I feel like I always tell everybody the same thing. Like when people are like, even on the spirit, how do you start your spiritual journey? I'm like, I don't know, go on a hike, bro. Like you'll learn. Like you'll have that answer. Just go on a hike, because to me it's like just about that walking and all that shit. You just need to be in nature. Like you need to be by yourself. Like bring somebody, but hey, sit on a rock. Like go sit on the edge of that cliff, like, and just sit on the rock for a little bit and just see where your mind takes you. So I feel like I always do that, and then I recommend those books. And I've been on that for almost a decade now. So I'm like, I still say the same thing. I'm like, no, this is where you begin. This is the best beginning right here. Begin here.
Where should people begin? Give us a title.
Give us a title. I'd say, it says, I Got You by Rob Hill Sr. And The Four Agreements is cool. If you want to skip ahead, I would say here's another collection. It's The Mastery of Love, Knowledge. Something of knowledge.
Yeah,
Love,
like
knowledge, and mastery of self. Those three books, though, those are a solid first start too if you don't want to start with the traditional Four Agreements. But the Four Agreements is always, that's the go-to.
Heck yeah. Yeah. I read that one too. It wrapped up everything really nicely. And I had a thought of like when you tell people to take a hike, there's a lot of people that could take a hike, but they're not going to listen to themselves because they don't trust themselves. So,
but that's the start.
Exactly.
You got it. All right. You're on the hike. You're, you feel me? But that seventh hike, you're just like, this is great.
Yeah.
Just go on a couple hikes. You'll start. And I feel like it's never just going to happen for anybody on day one. So it's all a journey. Even in the vegan, like that was a journey on its own. That was hard.
Why did you become a vegan, if you don't mind me asking?
Because I overly smoked weed to a point where I would be doing a tattoo. After my tattoo appointment, I have a studio session. Instead of stopping to go eat or something, I'm just smoking a blunt to like kill my appetite. And yeah, then I do my session and I wouldn't eat until like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. And that became such like a routine for me that I was kind of like harming my organs. And they basically were saying like it's recommended for me to stop eating all of like basically red meat, milk, and eggs. I still could eat chicken, but then in the process of me learning everything, I learned that chicken is just like kind of way worse than all of them. So I just cut that out too. But yeah, I stopped dairy and red meat first. Then I stopped cheese and everything else. So it took 2 years to fully transition.
And how's your body feel now that you've done that?
I don't know. I feel good. I've been like that. I feel like when I ate meat and stuff, not that I didn't have to work out, but it was easier, way easier to just gain the weight opposed to being plant-based. If I eat more carbs, then I gain more weight faster. But I don't know. I feel good. Like sometimes I feel like, not that I don't have to eat, but like, I feel like energized enough for like, it's cool. Like, I'll have me a nice healthy ass meal after this,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and a tasty one because you're a chef. So.
Man, I'm saying, I be making this chili pasta. It's
Ooh, you gotta share the recipe if you got a recipe, because I know you just pinch a little of that, throw a little of this.
I mean, I make them enough because to me it's like certain meals I'm trying to like perfect them in a sense, like taste wise. So yeah, I do got recipes if you would like.
A future cookbook, huh? Here we go.
But that's why I want to do like a urban modern.
That'd be sick. I'd buy it. I
Yeah,
support
so
it.
you'd be like, damn, what the hell is this? How will make this? Because I feel like vegan food is not really good. Restaurants don't really be good.
You've been going to the wrong vegan restaurants. Every vegan restaurant I've been to is fire. Come out to the Bay. I'll take you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, you was telling me about that Boricua spot, so.
Yeah, Casa Boriqueña. Shout out to Lulu.
Yeah. Trying to go there, bro.
Let's do it. When you come out here, I'll take you. For sure. You're going to love it.
Word.
All right, so I'm going to ask you a last question.
All right.
If you could describe radical acceptance and self-care in one word, phrase, or mantra, what would it be?
You be hitting me good. In one word or mantra. Be beautiful. That's all. Being you is the most beautiful thing anybody obviously can be. It's very cliche, but quote, motto. But I think that's also like, in a sense, what my purpose is. Like I drive people closer to becoming who they are. So for me, the radical acceptance and self-love it comes from just confidently just being yourself. I always tell people, I'm like, man, like some of the corniest people are my favorite people. I'm like, but it's because that's who they are and they love who they are and they're not going to change who they are for anybody. And for me, like, I appreciate people that are like that. So once I see somebody like kind of not being themselves, I'm like, or whatever, like that's ugly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So me, that's what it would be. It would be that. Well, BE-YOU-tiful. Like,
oh, I like that. I thought you were just saying it with like a cute little accent. I didn't realize like those were separate words.
Yeah, like BE-YOU-tiful. Because all in all, that's what brings the beauty together. It's just, ultimately being yourself.
That's beautiful.
For me.
That's beautiful. And how can people find you on socials?
Social. So me, I'm Touche everything, Toushai. Yeah, I just type Touche. My TikTok might say Touche Nana, but but Touche is ultimately everything.
And do you have any shout outs you want to give to anybody?
Yeah, shout out you guys, bro. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it,
Hey, thank you for being here with us. It was a gift. Like, it's nice to get to know you more out of the party scene. We have so much more to explore and share with you on the pod. Tap that follow or subscribe button to get every episode as soon as it's released. And give us a 5-star rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And join our wellness community on Instagram at Quest Wellness Pod. This podcast was produced by Puka Puka Creative. Executive producer, Stevie Kwa. Producer, editor, and sound designer, Leah Jackson. Associate producer, Rafaela Landestoy. Original music produced by Basque. His music is amazing. And we can't forget the emotional support by our fur babies, Frankie, Nugget, and Pukalani. Hello! Since you made it all the way to the end of the episode, we have a special little gift for you. And that's the full Lift Me Up track by Touche. Enjoy.
I wish I was a kid again. Outside yelling, jumping, playing around with all my friends. Muscle memory never fade away. Cause when I do it, I reminisce on the day when I was really happy. When I didn't even know what really happened to my daddy. Take me back to the days when family got together just to sit around and pray now. I wish I didn't know all about this. I wish I didn't know all about that. Cause what the fuck's this? Who the fuck's that? He like to touch kids. She like to throw trash. Can you lift me up sometime? Can you lift me up sometime? Can you lift me up sometime? Can you lift me? When I was a child, didn't know better. Never thought that I would be the trendsetter. They try to kick me down, but I'm a go-getter. Look who's at the top, put me in the box, feeling like VIP. Cause they notice me, passing bottles, smoking blunts, living teenage dreams. I got a pinky ring, got that gold, that bling. All this was for me, that's why I believe.